if you try and compare, let's say, any lady sport against men's, the women will come up as second best. They
Well,
just aren't as good athletically. We know that. So, what is it about basketball specifically?
so here, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to like or don't like because I get enough of that in my United States like. But here's what I would say. I just think it's not an apples to apples comparison.
Right.
You're comparing apples to bananas. And so you should, to me, I can just tell you this. I appreciate the sport for what it is, like the sport itself. I think the
Right.
people who play it right now are interesting. I think the game has evolved to a great place. I don't compare the NBA basketball player to a WNBA basketball player because that's an insane comparison. LeBron James would destroy Caitlin
So,
Clark.
what is the
A
attraction?
hundred out of it. The attraction is the game itself. To me, Bob, is interesting. It's played below the rim. They have to really have in my opinion, kind of like a fine skill set in order to score because the game itself is not high flying dunks,
Yeah, I
etc.
get it.
So
I get that. But
passing, shooting, defense, like that's interesting. I am someone, and again, I'm in the very much the 1% here because I literally covered the sport at a major place for a long time. I've also seen the evolution of the athleticism from like the early 2000s to today. So to me, Bob, the sport is interesting because I have seen like the athletes get better and better and better. So again,
okay.
personally for me, like that's an interesting thing. And then finally, and this again, this is just me. One of the reasons I've always liked it is because when I covered it, I thought the people who played it were really interesting and you were able to get access to them and learn about them. And John can appreciate this in a way where I
No, I
don't know,
know we talked about this last week.
like I don't know anything about Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews. I'm never getting that close to him, but I can maybe like when the WNBA comes, I actually may have a better sense of like the star player on that team than I do on the star player
Yeah.
in the Maple Leafs. But I would
Yeah.
never compare the two. Like men's sports, particularly at the pro level, we're talking $1 billion businesses. It's just a different world. It's like
Yeah.
it just doesn't the comparison doesn't, in my opinion, make sense because you're comparing things that just aren't in the same stratosphere.
It's fascinating to watch it at this point with the growth in women's sports. And by the way, it's all about scale in many ways. It's all about scale. And if you go to the Olympics, Bob, I like to watch the 100-meter dash in the men's. I also like to watch the 100-meter dash for the women. So I think that there's a place for it. And obviously, I think with the growth of what we've seen with the WNBA, and it's taken a long time. Let's be honest. It has taken a long time and a lot of money that they're finally at the place of making money. But it's gone through ups and downs too. I mean,
Yeah, it almost folded a couple
it
of years
almost
ago.
folded. I mean, the NBA has bankrolled the WNBA for a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like here's what I mean. Again, like you have to. Again, I hate these comparisons, but like you got to look at where they are, right, in their 29th year or 30th year or whatever, and then just look at where the NBA was in its
Sure.
30th year. That's
Sure.
the evolution. It's just we're in we're in a different world. I mean,
I mean, $50 million to buy. It's $50 million to buy a WNBA franchise.
yeah, which it wasn't the case. And again, just even if you look at society, like the number of women who run households now versus like 1960 is just we just live in a different time. Again, if I'm not like a evangelicalist who would say like, oh, the WNBA is going to be the next NFL. You're an insane human being if you say stuff like that. But like
Yeah.
you just said, John, I think there's a place
Sure.
for all this stuff. In the same way, one of the things about sports that's great is you just have to have a dedicated fan base willing to pay money, and you have a business. You might not have the NBA business, but you have a business. I mean, the junior hockey in some of these towns in Canada make money, right? Because they get 5,000 people every night at their games.
Yeah, it is. It will be interesting. With growth will come the challenge of making sure that all the stakeholders get rewarded.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
got to make money.
The players
At
in
a certain point,
WNBA, the players in the WNBA do not make a lot of money right now.
no, they got to. I mean, and plus they got to make money. I mean, like Larry Tannenbaum, I'm sure has really good intentions of doing this and the philanthropy end of it, but at the end of the day, he's a businessman. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
creating this, I assume, to give it away. He wants to make money. My just premise is that I think they can sell 10,000 season tickets in the fourth biggest city in North America. I just think the math works.